Okay, dokie.
Yeah.
What is happening, people? How you darn? How you darn? It's a great day to be great, so let's be great together. We are set for a good stream. We're going to be doing our absolute best to help you set your ideal lineups here in Week 11. Lots of news that's happened in the last couple of days. Some injuries, some talks about people taking certain starting jobs. I will just say quickly, with Deshaun Watson out for the year and Dorian Thompson-Robinson starting, I had to move Amari Cooper drastically down my rankings because the last time we saw Dorian Thompson play football, it might have been the worst performance by a quarterback ever. Nathan Peterman vibes. So that is concerning. Obviously, the news about Jaylen Warren winning the job in Pittsburgh. I watched a interview where they were asking questions to head coach's name is slipping my mind for some reason.
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. They were asking Mike Tomlin questions about it. And at the very end of that interview, they said, so is Jaylen Warren technically the starter, but they'll get the same amount of carries? Is that how you will operate? And the only thing that Mike said is, that's how we operated last week. Which to me is signifying that there will be a change. If you're saying that's how we operated last week, meaning you announced this change, some changes in the workload might be on the way. So we might see a good workload for Jaylen Warren this week, but it's not really ideal to start either of those running backs in this matchup. Regardless,
yeah.
Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining us. Do us a massive favor and smash that like button. We're going to be answering questions from top to bottom. I am so sorry that we are late, but we were recording a 2024 Dynasty Rookie running back video.
Oh boy.
Over on our Dynasty channel, and it is an hour-long video. It's probably the longest ranking video we have ever made, so that will be out in your guys' morning over on our Dynasty channel. But again, we'll be answering questions here from top to bottom. Super chats will get to skip the line. If you're donating, no obligation to donate, but just so you guys are aware. The first question is from PatrickMom. And let's see what PatrickMom has to say here. PatrickMom. First question says, hey guys, full PPR. Do I start Laporta or Warren at the flex this week? Starting Sun God 2. I don't know if they both will put up points since they should win easily. Yeah, I think you're kind of galaxy braining this, making this a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. This would be Laporta for me, Badaki.
Yeah, this would be Laporta as well. Even though they should win this game, I understand the Browns are a tough matchup and I don't want to start them. It's a risky start for Warren, I think, regardless of the news personally. So Laporta, I would rather start personally.
I agree with you. Eric is the next one. He says, PPR, should I drop McLaughlin to add McKinnon, who has a better upside rest of the year? I don't think you will ever be in a scenario, barring injury, that you want to start these names. But
I did say
McKinnon,
sorry.
maybe.
I did say I got on my running back video that Jet McKinnon could be a risky start coming into this week.
Normally, I would agree with you. He is a risky start.
No, and when I say risky start, I guess a risky start with high upside, because you can see them veering away from Pacheco because of the Eagles, how good they are. They maybe get Jet McKinnon, jet sweeps, some dump off passes, and I think you kind of see them veering away from Isaiah Pacheco and utilizing Jet McKinnon a little bit more just based off of this defense. But I could be wrong there, but that's why I said risky star.
We did just get a super chat from Steven Drake, so we will get to him straight away. He's going to skip the line. Thank you for the donation, man. Steven says, need help, half PPR, need 3 and a flex. 3 and a flex. I guess Cooper's Amari, I would assume, or is that Cooper Kupp? Let's maybe clarify for us, Steven, there. But Deontay, Johnson, Dell, Nico, Noah Brown, Henderson. Also, would you play both Andrews and McBride? Okay, so we need essentially 4 of these names is what it sounds like. It is Amari Cooper, he says. I had to move Amari Cooper down my rankings quite significantly. He's still in play for me here because the matchup is pretty good against the Steelers. And the Houston wide receiver room is difficult to project this week, Badaki, because Nico Collins isn't practicing, but he's saying he will play. On the other hand, Noah Brown is not practicing. We don't know if he will play. What I've said from the beginning is if Nico Collins plays, I don't think you want to play Noah Brown. So how I would handle this question is McBride is definitely playing for me and Andrews. That's one. Now I need three. So the other three for me would be Deontay Johnson, Amari Cooper, and then I'm probably rocking with Tank Dell being the healthiest of those three.
I would do Deontay Johnson, Dell, and Nico, with Andrews being the flex.
Okay.
Let's. I think if Nico was going to play, and if we do get a report saying that he's not going to be limited or any of that, I think he's going to be a vital part of this offense. I actually think all these guys will be a vital part of this offense.
It's a good
matchup. I think Noah Brown also. Well, we don't know because he didn't practice, but if he does play, all these guys could be in contention to be something, you know. So I would go there, Steven. Hopefully that helps. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
Ethan with another donation. Thank you, my man. You are skipping the line there. Appreciate you. What y'all think of the squad? Mahomes, JJ, Ayuk, Debo, Mostert, Kyron McBride, Najee Rice in the flex. I like it. It looks like a 12-man. Hopefully with Justin Jefferson coming back, that's going to give you a little bit of a boost. Your running back room isn't my favorite if it's Kyron and Najee.
Monster, Kyron, yeah.
And I would also say
Kyron's going to come back here.
Najee's kind of just lost a little bit of volume. Maybe not drastic, but I think he's just lost a little bit of volume this week. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good team. I would maybe trying to improve your running back room if you can. Thank you for your donation, though.
Agreed.
Filoni, what's up, my man? Thank you for your donation. He says, yo, would you trade Amon-Ra for Waddle, Monty, Dotson? So, assuming you need running back help, I don't know where you stand with David Montgomery. I still view him as a must start every week. Getting Waddle and Monty feels great. Dotson is not someone that would sway a trade for me at this point with Samuel healthy. So I wonder if you can change Dotson to, a Zay Flowers or a Deontay Johnson, a Gabe Davis maybe.
I would agree. There isn't anyone. Look, I would actually just do Waddle and Monty for Amon-Ra.
Sure.
I think that's a fair trade and not even add Dotson.
But you only do this deal if you really need help at running back.
I would say if that other person is still willing to give you a third player, maybe there's somebody else on this team that we would rather have.
Sure.
Over Jahan Dotson. But I would be okay if you are in need of a running back with Monty and Waddle. I do believe Amon-Ra and Monty are fairly even in value.
Okay.
And I think Waddle just gives you a little extra boost because he's in a high-powered offense here. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah. I definitely agree with what you're saying there. And again, the only way you make that trade is if you need help at running back, because I do prefer Amon-Ra overall, but it's close. But if this is going to really help your running back room, I think Waddle is a fantastic piece to add in replace of Amon-Ra. So I like it. Trigger Trey with a donation here. Thank you for your donation. He says 5-5. Team is Lamar, Bijan. Let's see. He's shown us his squad. I only can keep 5 running backs and 6 wide receivers. Who can I trade for using Kenneth Walker and Amari Cooper? Trigger Trey, I know you donated, but what we always say on this stream is it's almost impossible for us to tell you what your league mates will do and how they will value players. We want to help you. We appreciate the donation, but keep in mind that it's kind of, I'm not going to say pointless, but it's almost a waste of your time for us to say, here are some names that you could trade for then you go talk to those owners and they're like, I don't want to do a deal. So the most important thing that you can do is put these guys on the trade block and see what offers come back in return. But I think if you're in a sharp league, most people are going to be aware that now Deshaun Watson is out for the year. They're probably not going to want to trade for Amari Cooper. And I think most people will be aware that Kenneth Walker doesn't have the best schedule in the playoffs or even upcoming
rest of the season.
And is kind of starting to split a backfield with Zach Charbonnet.
And those are probably your reasons why you're trying to sell them.
Yeah.
To be honest.
But, so, I mean, you could try, again, like we can say names. It genuinely is pointless. But, I mean, you could try and go get a Josh Jacobs, a Jahmyr Gibbs, a Breece Hall. You know, I'm just thinking in my head, like it matters more what your league thinks rather than what we could tell you. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, you know, depending on what the deal could look like. But again, what is more important is how your league evaluates these players. So put them on the trade block, see what offers come in, and then you can start negotiating and tell us what offers you have.
Thank you so much, Trigger. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Luke, he did give a super chat as well. He said, should I trade Aaron Jones, Lockett, and Keaton? Sorry, I want to say Keontae.
Ingram.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Ingram. Keaton for Bijan and Devonta. Scared about Bijan's touches and not sure if I want to deal with Lockett/Jones yet. So Aaron Jones, Lockett, Mitchell for Bijan and Devonta.
Bijan and Devonta by far is the more valuable.
100%. That's the side that I would want personally.
Yeah, 100%.
But thank
Bijan and Devonta, in our opinion. But thank you for the donations, guys. Very kind. Keep in mind, if you want to skip the line, you can donate. There's no obligation. And do us a favor. Go ahead and smash that like button for us. We're only 8 likes away from 50. And we've only been streaming for like, what? 10 minutes?
Something like that. 11 minutes, 10 minutes.
We're the stream is starting on fire. You love to see it. Eric is the next question. PPR start 2. Mixon, Hunt, Herbert, Dowdle, McLaughlin, McKinnon. Start 2. Mixon, Hunt, Herbert, Dowdle,
we're on the first
McLaughlin, McKinnon. Yeah.
I'm going Mixon and Hunt here. I mean, those are the guys that get opportunities. Herbert, we just got a report saying the Bears backfield is going to be a rotation of all 3. So I mean, that's kind of what we expected. We was just like, we won't be surprised if that does come out, and that is going to be the case with how everything has been. So Mixon and Hunt for me coming into this week.
I would agree with you. Victor is the next question. He says, need 2 running backs in a flex, full PPR. Mostert, Swift, White, and Waddle. Feel like I should be starting these Dolphins players in this matchup, but not sure with Achane coming back. Okay, need 2 running backs in a flex. Mostert, Swift, White, and Waddle. For me, it would actually be Swift and White, and I would flex Waddle.
Exactly.
I do think that Achane is going to have a significant role when he's back. It's my opinion. Maybe we have to reassess if, you know, a report comes out that he'll be limited. But I just don't think that they play him unless he's ready to go. Every report in practice is saying that he looks like himself. So I think you'll get some full practices in here soon. And I think you'll have confidence in starting Achane, which means Mostert won't be bad. You can still start him. But I think Mostert will not have as much opportunity this week. So Swift, White, and Waddle for me.
I would agree. One thing I would want to say with Raheem is that I think he is better with Devon.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. I think it opens things up for Raheem if he is going to be playing this week. I know he has been limited with that knee, but I think he should play. Victor, he says start Kmet or McBride. I think we will both go McBride.
Yep.
Akshay, start 1 running back, 1 flex. This is tough. I need to win this week, so I need smash. Starts Pollard, Kenneth Walker, Brian Robinson, and Boyd. I think you would know our answer, Akshay. I think you 100% would know our answer. You are wanting us, maybe want us to have a conversation. We've talked about this. Boyd, or let's start with Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard has one of the best matchups playing against the Carolina Panthers, has been efficient, has been getting the opportunities.
Hasn't been used right either.
You start him no matter what. Yes. I said that in my dynasty or the start videos this week. And Kenneth Walker playing the Rams. I still believe you play him as well. This is a divisional game. At LA, I think these are your best starts here. Personally, I would start Kenneth Walker over Brian Robinson, even though he is playing the Giants, who also give up a lot of points to the running back position. But I'm going Pollard and Kenneth Walker.
So I agree with you, but what I would say is I don't think there is a smash start here. I think there are good starts. Tony Pollard's a good start, but nothing, and I'm a Tony Pollard guy, but nothing that I've seen so far this year tells me that he's a smash start in a good matchup. But if you look at schedule adjusted fantasy points allowed, Carolina is giving up 28.6 PPR points per game. They're the second best matchup for your running back. So yes, Pollard would be in my lineup given your options. And as far as Ken Walker goes, we know he only needs one play to kind of return fantasy value for you. So that's what we would do, but best of luck. The next question is from Tay. Start Stroud over Lamar, question mark.
I can't sit Lamar against this divisional game. I don't think I can.
Yeah.
I love Stroud. I think he should be started everywhere. But Lamar against the Bengals, they played earlier again this year, right? Didn't they play already?
They have,
yeah,
actually.
28 points.
Okay.
Week 2, 28 points.
Did he have a rushing touchdown?
He didn't have a rushing touchdown, but he did throw for 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
That is his third highest outing so far this year, was against the Cincinnati Bengals, and that was at the Cincinnati Bengals. This one is at home, at the bank. You would expect him to have a better game here after that kind of a bad game-ish that we saw against Cleveland.
He's been pretty efficient and pretty good as a quarterback, except for that last game the whole year. And I said this when we talked about Gus Edwards. I just imagine that the game plan is different for Baltimore this week versus the Bengals than it was for these other teams that they were dominating. I just think the game plan is different. I don't think you're going to be in the red zone and saying, all right, let's give Gus Edwards 3 carries, or on the goal line. I think Lamar Jackson probably rushes for a touchdown. I think they're more creative with the ways that they use Lamar Jackson in the red zone. And I think they scheme up plays specifically for a game like this. So it would be Lamar for me, but it is close. And what I would say is Stroud and Kyler are both incredible starts. That Texans-Cardinals game has the second highest over-under this week. And if you think about it, it has all the recipes for maybe the most points in fantasy from any matchup, right? 2 defenses that are giving up a ton of yards per game, a ton of fantasy points per game, 2 quarterbacks that can throw the ball. Hollywood should be great. Tank should be great. Devin Singletary, James Conner, Kyler Murray, Stroud, they should all be very good. But Lamar is a superstar. I don't think I can sit him with the rushing upside that he presents on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I would completely agree.
We have some super chats.
Yeah, we do have some super chats. Thank you so much, guys. If you want to skip the line, essentially, all you have to do is drop a super chat. You don't have to, but you can here. I think the first one is Ethan M. He said, who is the biggest potential league winner right now? This is kind of going to be answered in a video that I'm going to be talking about of trade for players for the playoffs. But I guess without having the playoffs in mind, if you just think about overall players, I think you can obviously say these big names. You think of CMC, you think of the Tyreek Hills. I think the biggest thing is who are the biggest? I think
he's like, who is this year's Cam Akers, for example, last year?
Yeah,
from last James Conner last year, right? That's the way I'm thinking about this question. Does anyone stand out for you? There's a couple names that I'm thinking about, but I don't know if anyone stands out for you necessarily.
Not off the top of my head. No, I don't. I haven't done the research yet for format video, but I'm not really seeing too many people that stand out to me like crazy. I mean, I guess the biggest one I think of is Hollywood Brown, because Kyler Murray is back. But other than that, I can't think of anyone else. I mean, maybe if I look into it a little bit more.
I've got a couple names that come off the top of my head. First one is Devonta Smith with the Eagles. I know he's had a very up and down year, but without Dallas Goedert, he's been pretty good in those splits. So Devonta Smith comes to mind. I think he's someone that you can trade for. Another name that comes to mind is Devon Achane coming back to the Dolphins offense. I put up a poll on our channel this morning, and there's a lot of Devon Achane disrespect in the comments, because my question was essentially who scores the most fantasy points this week, and it's very close. The reason I put that poll up is because all these guys are back to back to back in my rankings. And let's just quickly look at this poll. I don't know who scores more points, but you can see clearly Devon Achane's the most voted player. But just in the comments, I was looking through the comments, and a lot of people were just saying that Achane, let me try and find, everyone voting on Achane isn't winning championships. Achane, the guy's played 4 games. People are naive. It's hilarious that they think he'll, do well. Achane's overrated. He was just the most commented name on the poll, and I feel like that would represent to me that he is an option that you could go buy. Could be wrong, but I feel like he is someone that I definitely think could end up winning people championships this year. And there was one more name that came to mind. Hollywood Brown, which you talked about, was the other name that really came to mind for me. So, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps, Ethan.
Also, one more. Sorry, Jerome Ford, because his schedule is very, very enticing coming up, and he has truly kind of taken over that backfield since he's been healthy. He's been getting 65% of that workload. So I would also throw in Jerome Ford's name there.
Let's go, Jerome. Come on, baby, we believe.
Sneaky one. And I don't think it happens, but if Aaron Rodgers comes back, Garrett Wilson will win leagues.
That is somebody that's going to be in my video 100%. It's risky.
I don't think he comes back before the fantasy playoffs are done. Yeah, but if he does,
it all depends on what he can do.
Garrett Wilson will win people leagues. Next question is a super chat from Steven Drakes. Thank you for the donation. He says, so no faith in Henderson in Seattle this week. Kyron is a week 12 return. Cooper's quarterback is a downgrade. Is it dumb to play Andrews and McBride together? I think you asked that in the previous question. We said that we would play Andrews and McBride together, but thank you for the donation. Yes, we would play Andrews and McBride together. We don't think it's dumb. I don't think there's any reason to feel that way. And as far as Henderson, I just don't think he is the only backfield or the only running back in this backfield that could get the opportunities. He's not played well. He's not looked good. Royce Freeman has been just as good, if not better, if not more efficient. So I just don't want to bet on a running back in that backfield if I have the options that you just presented us in your previous.
I would say the options that you presented us, we would rather start those guys over. But if you do need a running back, depending on your running back room, I don't think Henderson is a bad plug and play coming into this week. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I did have him as a good spot start coming in with Royce Freeman. Seattle Seahawks do give up a lot of points to the running back position, 26.7 points per game here. And with Matthew Stafford coming back, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, you expect this team to move the ball down the field. Not only that, either Royce Freeman or Darrell Henderson getting goal line opportunities. So we're okay depending on your options. That's what I would say.
I don't think Henderson is a must sit, but again, the options I think you had are better. And as far as those tight ends, it's not dumb. It's not dumb.
Yeah. Bill Dance, thank you so much for the super chat. Everything's gonna be all right. He said Boyd or Calvin. Standard. A moment of silence. I'm going Tyler Boyd. The reason why I'm going Tyler Boyd is because he is playing the Baltimore Ravens with a divisional matchup. T. Higgins, if I'm not mistaken, has already been either ruled out or he hasn't been practicing for this Thursday game. Okay, number 2, Bengals just lost. Number 3, Tyler Boyd could have had an even bigger game if he didn't freaking drop the ball. 19 points, caught 8 out of 12 targets. Calvin Ridley is just not someone you can trust. Tyler Boyd had a better the last 4 games he had a better stretch than Calvin Ridley's had in the last 4 games. And he's wide receiver 3. I'm going Tyler Boyd, and I'm going with confidence.
I have no confidence in either, but I would go Tyler Boyd. But I certainly don't have the confidence that Badaki does, because this is a much more difficult matchup than what Tyler Boyd faced last week.
I would say, continue, sorry.
So yes, it would be Tyler Boyd, but I don't have the confidence you have. In fact, I probably don't even want to watch Thursday Night Football if I'm starting Tyler Boyd. I just want to watch the highlights and see if I made the right decision.
The only reason why Calvin Ridley is so intriguing this week
matchup
is because of the matchup. The Tennessee Titans, if I'm not mistaken, give up top 5 or top 6 points to the wide receiver position. And not only that, I think this is the first time we've actually heard from reporters finally pressing on Doug Peterson. It's like, should we start getting Calvin the ball a little bit? Like, is there any things that we can do to make sure we can get him the ball? And he was like, well, we're trying to get him the ball. He's just calling penalties.
Yeah. If you guys look at Coach Speak Index, they like Badaki said, they asked Coach about, hey, should we get Calvin the ball more? Like you mentioned. And his answer was pretty much like, we are trying. Which to me, it's like, you're not though, are you? But you're not actually trying, are you, buddy? Because we see all these number 1 wide receivers get slants, get the screen game going. You can tell when someone's trying to get someone the ball. You're not actually trying, are you? So, yeah, not exactly encouraging that he couldn't even recognize that they're not getting him the ball. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Tyler Boyd with confidence. I would say it. Do it. Just say it with your chest, Bill. It's Tyler Boyd. Go around to your friends saying, I'm starting Tyler Boyd over Calvin Ridley. Who? Calvin Ridley? The one that was dueling it up with Julio Jones back in the day?
I wouldn't say that, because I could see Calvin having a good game. But I do think Boyd is a smarter option for sure. But thank guys, we are answering questions from top to bottom. Super chats do get to skip the line. We appreciate all those donations so far. And by the way, do us a favor, go ahead and smash that like button for us. We have over 100 people watching, which is awesome. Thanks for spending your time with us. Smash that like button for us. Let's get to 75. The next question in order is from Giannis Antetokounmpo Studios. He says, pick 1, full PPR, Aaron Jones, Keaton Mitchell, Devin Singletary. Also, should I trade Tua for Joe Burrow? Let's start there. Pick 1, Aaron Jones, Keaton, or Devin. This is between Aaron Jones and Devin for me. Dameon Pierce is not practicing. If Dameon Pierce doesn't play, Devin Singletary becomes a must start in my mind. But the fact that you have Aaron Jones versus the Chargers, I think that's a very fun matchup to be a part of. So I would go Aaron Jones there myself.
I'm going Aaron Jones as well. I don't know. How do you feel about Singletary coming into this week? Because the Cardinals,
I love the idea.
Good matchup.
He's one of my favorite plays off the waiver wire. But that's for example, if you had Darrell Henderson, and you were like him or Devin, it's easily Devin Singletary. But I'm not going to say.
I agree. I agree. Jones. I just think it's hard to start him because I think this is like a trap game. Like you get we leaned so much on. Finally, he got the attempts. Finally, he got a career high in 30 touches against the Bengals, who are better defense technically than the Cardinals. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for a running back not to go off against this team, though. That's you have to be pretty poor to not be efficient against this defense.
Yeah. And should we trade Tua for Joe Burrow? I would still rather have Joe Burrow personally, or I would want Joe Burrow over Tua. I think they're fairly even. I would say they're in the same tier in the fantasy realm for the rest of the season for me personally. So
I'm just looking at their playoffs. So the first game Tua has in the playoffs is the Jets, then Dallas, then Baltimore. So to be able to pivot from Tua to Burrow, who has Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City, I think that's a much better matchup in the playoffs. So definitely give me Joe Burrow. I do not want to face the Jets, Cowboys, and Ravens in the playoffs. I would much rather face the Vikings, Steelers, and Chiefs.
I hear you.
So definitely give me Joe Burrow there. What's up, Tay?
Joey B.
Edwards, Warren, or Chandler at RB2. I'm going to go ahead and get bold here and say if Tai Chandler's a starting running back, you absolutely start him of these three names. The matchup is good against the Broncos. The Broncos have been much better against the pass, but in their run game, they have struggled still pretty mightily. If you look at schedule adjusted fantasy points according to 4for4, no one gives up more fantasy points, even when you account for schedule, than the Denver Broncos to the running back position. So while you can't throw on them very well, you absolutely can rush against them. It would be Tai Chandler for me if there is no Madison, which it's looking like that will be the case.
Yeah, I agree here, and I was going to go Tai Chandler as well. Gus has a tougher matchup. Personally, I know, and Jalen Warren, I don't think has the best matchup either coming into this week against the Cleveland Browns. And they're saying that they're going to get Mitchell the ball a little bit more this week, so that can really hinder Gus Edwards' workload. So keep that in mind, Tay. But thank you so much for that question. We did get a couple super chats here down under. If you guys want to drop skip the line, all you have to do is drop a super chat. You don't have to. Robert Mitchell, thank you so much for the super chat. He said Kyler or Justin Fields. Which one should I start this week? Okay, let's start there.
So
Kyler or Justin
I think Justin Fields is a good play this week, but I would start Kyler. I just would rather play the Houston defense than the Lions defense. And we know Justin Fields is coming off an injury. We don't know how well he's going to be able to throw just yet. So it would be Kyler Murray.
You know how well he's going to run, though.
Yeah, he could run, but the difference between him and Kyler Murray is Kyler Murray looks like he has no limitations. I don't know that about Justin Fields just yet. It would be Kyler Murray for me in the second highest over-under of the week.
Yeah, I'm going to lean with you there as well. I'm going to lean there with you in starting Kyler Murray over Justin Fields. He says Antonio or Gus. I'm assuming Antonio Gibson?
Probably.
Or Gus?
Yeah. Gibson didn't practice, by the way, today with a toe injury.
Interesting.
It could be a Veterans Day of rest. I'm not sure. But I think regardless, even though I imagine that the Ravens probably won't use Gus the way they have in this game previously, I would probably still say Gus is your best option there.
I agree. I would go Gus Edwards
Thank you, Robert.
as well. Adam, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, should I flex Pacheco, Mitchell, Flowers, Rice, or Schultz? My starters right now are Devon, Saquon, Moore, Dell, and Kincaid. We get what you're trying to say.
So you can only start one of these names. Is that right?
That's what it sounds like.
I'm going to rule out Pacheco. He could have a good game, but against the Philadelphia Eagles, that's the worst matchup for a running back. I'm going to rule out Keaton Mitchell because while we are expecting more touches, what does more touches mean? Because you had 3 carries last week. And it's a bad matchup versus the Browns. I'm really deciding between Flowers, Rice, and Schultz here. I think Rice has the best matchup.
Oddly enough.
So between Rice and Schultz, it's very, very close for me. You know, Dalton Schultz has had a good run of games. I'm going to go Rashee Rice. I struggle to see a scenario in which the Chiefs dominate the Eagles. So I think Rashee Rice will be necessary for most of this game. And it's the best matchup for wide receivers, or I believe it's top 2. I'll go Rashee Rice there.
Yeah, I'm going based off matchup here. I'm going Richie Rich as well, based off of the Eagles giving a lot of points to the wide receiver position.
We just got a $10 donation from Hoosier. Thank you for the donation, man. Very, very kind. Let's get to that straight away. These super chats, as you guys know, they skip the lines. 12-team PPR. I'm 4-6. I have Goff, Murray, Barkley, JT, Connor, Singletary, Ty Chandler, AJ, Pittman, D-Hop, Jason, DeMario, Laporta. I'm thinking move a quarterback plus something to upgrade at wide receiver or running back. Trade pieces and target suggestions. So I will just say, typically, guys, we don't do team reviews, but this guy's just donated $10, so we're going to take a second and try and help out if we can. So he has Goff and Murray. It's a one quarterback league. I would absolutely feel comfortable trading one of those names to upgrade somewhere. I would suggest trading Goff instead of Murray because I do believe Murray has a higher upside rest of the year. Whereas Goff owners could be frustrated in certain games where Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs kind of dominate. Do you know what I mean? There might be some games where there's like 4 rushing touchdowns and you're like, damn it, Jared Goff played well, but he has no touchdowns. So I would say I would try and package, let's say, Goff and Barkley, because Barkley is concerning to me. I don't know how many opportunities he'll have to score a touchdown in that offense. So, for example, can we package Goff and Barkley and go get a Josh Jacobs? Can we go get a Jahmyr Gibbs, an Etienne, a Breece Hall? Those are all names that I would suggest. A couple other moves that you could do is if you want to package, let's say, Jared Goff and a DeAndre Hopkins, and let's say go out and get a better wide receiver, for example, a Hollywood Brown, which I think you can absolutely get that done. A DJ Moore, which I think you can get that done because right now DJ Moore has not been good, but Justin Fields is coming back. A Justin Jefferson off his injury. So those are a couple moves that I might suggest. I don't think you need to do anything with your tight end spot because you have Laporta. Laporta probably has, I haven't looked this up, I've just looked at Laporta's schedule. He probably has the best rest of season schedule for any tight end in fantasy. So those are a couple moves that I would suggest. Anything you had in mind?
No, I was definitely going to mention Goff and D-Hop there and get one of those wide receivers like you mentioned. Yeah. The one that stood out to me was a DJ Moore. I think that's a good pickup. Maybe Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk, Devonta Smith. I think are big names that you can go out and try and get. So I'm looking more towards the wide receiver room. I think you have the depth at running back. You have Barkley, JT, Connor, Singletary. I think you have 4 technically starting running backs here that you hope could pick up and give you that good, safe floor. But the wide receivers are looking very up and down. You start A.J. Brown, you start Michael Pittman. But if you can get that third wide receiver that you can put in your flex, like we said, DJ Moore or Devonta Smith or whatever, all those other wide receivers that we mentioned, that can really help your team in the playoffs if you do get there with a couple more wins.
And, I would say as well that Devin Singletary could be a good trade high if he performs again this week, because that's still not a player that I would feel comfortable starting when Dameon Pierce is back. So, Hoosier, definitely don't say my bad. It's all good. I just want to let the everyone else know, watching the stream. I just want to let them know that we typically don't do team breakdowns, but you donated $10. Of course, we're going to take a second and look at your team. So we appreciate you, man. The next question in order up at the top here is from Dan Lee. He says, Freiermuth or Njoku this week, and Flowers or Najee. I'll go Flowers over Najee. As far as Pat Freiermuth and Njoku, I'll probably, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is starting now. I think I'll go Pat if he plays.
That's a joke, is it? I'm gonna go David.
Okay.
I don't like it. I'm gonna go David.
I need to see some better quarterback play.
I get you.
Out of Dorian Thompson-Robinson. We did just get a super chat, so someone is skipping the line there. That is Luke. Thank you for your donation. Appreciate you. Luke says, hi again. Should I start Kincaid or McBride this week in the tight end spot? Also need a flex from Rice or Lockett. Honestly, I'm glad that you mentioned it, but to me, I would be playing both of those tight ends. I'd be playing Kincaid and McBride. Would you agree?
Agreed. Completely agree. Yeah.
That I think is your best option, even though I think Rice is a good play. As far as Lockett, it's kind of matchup dependent, and he's a little boom bust right now. Dan Lee says, is it worth holding on to Foreman if Herbert is back? I dropped him in a league. I picked him up off the waivers last week, played him against Carolina, and dropped him because I don't want to part of that backfield if it's a three-headed, backfield. So,
yeah, I hear you. Donald Smith, Boyd or DJ Moore? I'll be going DJ Moore this week.
Agreed.
Deontay or Richie Rich here from Donald.
Rice for me.
He said good evening.
Richie for me.
Yeah, I would go Rashee Rice as well based off the matchup. Deontay has a tough one here. John M, Commanders or Lions defense? I'm happy with either or. I would rather go Lions personally.
Yeah, Lions for me.
But both are pretty good. Lucy, 4 and 6 PPR, Golf or Fields? I'll be going Golf this week. Worried about Golf won't have to throw in the second half. Opponents have. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying.
That makes sense for sure.
It does make sense. I think I'm still going Golf though.
I have Fields one spot
tough.
higher in my rankings right now. And look, we could be overthinking this. It's a good matchup. Maybe Jared Goff just plays well and he gets multiple touchdowns. But I do see a scenario in which there's a possibility that Jared Goff is not as necessary as Justin Fields. So I agree. I'll go with Fields there.
Adam, should I flex Pacheco, Mitchell, or Zay? I will be going Zaza.
Yeah, Zay Flowers for me too.
Filon or Wilson PPR?
I guess that's probably Garrett.
I'll be going Garrett Wilson.
Same, but play calling duties has swung back to Frank Reich. So the third Reich is back, and he will probably pepper Adam Thielen. Just keep. Come on,
Frank, you could win it. I believe. If I want anything more this week, I want the Carolina Panthers to beat the Dallas Cowboys. So that means the New York Football Giants could have the #1 pick. I believe.
It's not gonna.
It's not possible.
It's not.
Foreman or Najee Harris? I'll be going Najee Harris still.
I would too. I don't really like either of those options, but I would go Najee.
Yeah, perfect. Dawn, pick 2, standard, Thielen, Devonta Adams, Tank Dell, Devonta Smith, Hollywood Brown. Standard. I would be going Devonta Smith in this one and Hollywood Brown. Personally.
Yeah, interesting question. This would probably be Devonta Smith and Devonta Adams for me. I do like Hollywood Brown this week, but I would rock with Devonta Adams. I think they're going to need him to be a big part of their offense versus that Miami offense. So, Perfected to Dawn says, trade Javonte for Pollard for rest of season usage. I'd rather have Javonte at this point.
Yeah, same.
You agree?
I would agree.
We did get a super chat, so let's prioritize that. Eddie J is skipping the queue with his donation. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for your donation. He says, hey guys, should I trade Amari and Downs for Tank? This feels like a little bit of an overpay. I like the idea of moving off of Amari Cooper. But when Downs is healthy after the bye week, if he is healthy, I think he'll give you similar points as Tank.
I agree. I would personally just want to do Amari for Tank.
Exactly. Amari for Tank is ideal there.
You thinking even more. What about Amari for Cortland Sutton?
Yes, I like that.
Amari for DeAndre Hopkins.
I think I prefer Amari.
Chris Godwin.
Amari.
Drake. London.
Amari.
Okay. Calvin Ridley.
Amari.
Okay. Hopefully that helps there, Eddie. We appreciate the super chat, brother. Thank you so much. We did get another one, it looks like.
From Alberto.
Alberto. I don't know what's in Mexico. Hola from Mexico City. Mi gente. He says 7-3. Full PPR. Start Singletary or Warren. Should I start Cup? First of all, you always start Cooper Cup.
Well,
let me take that back.
With Matthew Stafford. Because
with Matthew Stafford.
we did say when it was Brett Rippon, we said don't start Cup, don't start Puka. However, you're right. With Matthew Stafford, you always start Cup.
Completely agree.
As far as Singletary or Warren, if Dameon Pierce doesn't play, I will definitely go Singletary.
Yes, I agree. Singletary as well. Jalen Warren does have a tough matchup playing the Cleveland Browns. I understand, they kind of gave up a lot of points last week to the running back position. But Devin Singletary playing against the Arizona Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken, top 5 in points allowed to the running back position against the Arizona Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken. They actually gave up the 4th most points to the running back position currently. So we would go Devin Singletary there. Thank you so much, Alberto. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank you for your donation, man. We are going from top to bottom, guys. Super chats do get to skip the line. We appreciate y'all, but not obligated, of course, to do that. But you might have to be a little patient because there's a lot of questions from these non-super chat ones. Khalik says, Geno or Stafford, who should I start? So
I'm going Stafford. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same game, isn't it?
It is the same game. They are playing each other. I would rather play Matthew Stafford personally. Him coming back, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. He doesn't get Kyron back this week, but he gets him next week. I'd rather have Matthew Stafford or start Matthew Stafford this week.
I'm fine with that. They're back-to-back in my rankings. I don't have a strong opinion. Adam says DJ, DK, D-Hop, Addison, or Laporta at the flex. I guess that's probably DJ Moore. Honestly, probably be Laporta for me. I think it's Laporta for me versus the Bears.
I think either of those two personally are good starts. I don't think there's a wrong answer here. I think DJ Moore bounces back and Laporta could have a good game. So I'm happy with either one of those two. He says also Lions or Miami's defense. I'm happy with either or, but I'm going Lions as well. Swordfish, trying to decide who to start. 2 running backs, 1 flex. Addison, Kenneth Walker, Pollard. Devon, Foreman, Herbert. I would be starting. So you start 3 out of this. I'm going Kenneth Walker, Pollard, and Devon. A Chan.
Yeah, I'd be right there with you.
Are you guys higher on Cooper Kupp or Mike Evans rest of the season? Just curious.
Big Cooper Kupp for me.
It would be Cooper Kupp as well.
It is close. I think Mike Evans deserves a lot of respect. He's played really well this year. He's been Baker's favorite target by far. But it would be Cooper Kupp for me. I still think he's going to get peppered when Stafford is healthy.
I agree as well. Mike Evans is up there. You got to put respect on him. AJ Starr, hey fellas, Diggs hasn't done well for me. Should I hold or sell? If I were to trade, I was thinking of asking for Swift or Pacheco. My running backs are Henderson, Kyron, Eckler. Wide receivers are Hollywood, Higgins, London, Keenan.
There is no scenario in which I'm selling Stephon Diggs for Isaiah Pacheco.
And I
those
mean, if you're
are two
reacting,
different stratospheres of talent and fantasy value, in my opinion.
I just think that it's just what you're doing right now here. AJ is no reaction. Hasn't done well for me. How many other times he hasn't done well for you? Go tell me.
Yeah.
And it's probably it's only gonna be either that one time or I think he only had one other game less than 10 fantasy points. The rest he has been, if I'm not mistaken, wide receiver 2 or 3 on the year.
Well, he's a wide receiver 4 on the year. That was his only game under 13 PPR points. He has multiple games over 20. He has a 36-point game. And they just lost to the Broncos, and he had 5 targets. I can promise you he's not going to have 5 targets again, probably the rest of the year. Yeah, I mean, overall, I would just say I think it's an overreaction to Diggs. I'd agree with you.
Agreed. Bryce, he said, my starting lineup. Okay. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, can't really say anything else about it. CJ Stroud, AJ Brown, Tank, CMC, Joe Mixon, Jake Ferguson, Terry.
It's a good
Thumbs
team.
up, brother.
It's a very good team. I like that Terry's your flex. I mean, you got CMC. You always got a chance to win. So I think you've done well there. We did just get a super chat from Colin. So let's go ahead and answer Colin's question. Thank you for your donation, man. He is skipping the line here with his donation. Full PPR start to Addison, Hopkins, or McBride. McBride is oddly enough the one I'm very confident in here. It's between Addison and D-Hop next. And I think I lean DeAndre Hopkins. Assuming Justin Jefferson's coming back.
I agree. I mean, the Broncos didn't give up too many points to the wide receiver position this past week either.
No, they're a legit secondary. It's just you can run on them.
They're starting to form, yeah. So I would agree there, McBride and Hopkins. AJ Starr, thank you so much. He said flex McBride over Henderson or Hollywood. I would be starting Hollywood over McBride personally. I'm not sure where you stand there.
I love Hollywood, but I would be going McBride.
Okay, and I would start McBride over Henderson. So
I would start McBride over both of them. I mean, I don't think the first game for Kyler Murray back is a indication of exactly what we'll see the rest of the year. We expect Hollywood to be very good, but in his first game back, he targeted Trey McBride 9 times. Trey McBride had over 100 yards for the first time in the last, was it 30 years or something for a Cardinals tight end. 131 yards. I mean, I wonder how many tight ends have done that this year. So just seeing what he's done, who he's favored so far, I will go Trey, but I could see Hollywood outscoring him. It's just based off what I've seen, my current knowledge. It would be Trey McBride. By the way, Draymond's been suspended for 5 games. In case anyone cares.
I need to watch that.
Bro, so Draymond Green is literally playing WWE out here instead of basketball.
So is it just like Draymond Green chokehold? Like look that up?
Yeah, just look up Draymond Green versus Rudy Gobert. Dude literally puts him in a chokehold. And Steve Kerr is trying to justify why it was okay. It's like, Steve, can you treat Draymond like another player in the NFL or in the NBA? Man, he gives him such a free pass in so many scenarios.
He wins in games, so
sure.
Maybe it's not him specifically, but like he helps.
Okay, if a random player in the NBA did what Draymond did, every time he would be suspended, and probably given much more of a punishment than what Draymond's given. But anyway, I just don't like the Warriors, so maybe I'm a hater.
Maybe you're just a hater. No, I'm just.
I could be.
No, I mean it's.
Anyway, as you find that, Whoopsie says pick 3: Rashad White, Saquon Achane, and Devonta Smith. I would be sitting Saquon there. Yeah, I don't like it, but I'd be sitting Saquon. I don't want a part of that offense.
I would. Yeah, this one's a tough one just purely because Rashad White is playing the 49ers. And one of the things you said, the 49ers have good linebackers, and that's going to make it tough for him to kind of dump the ball off for Baker Mayfield. And I think if there's any way Saquon Barkley gets the ball, it's purely based off of volume. So, I mean, he can be like a 30-plus type of touch game for Saquon.
We did get a couple super chats. So sorry, what was your answer? My bad.
It will be pick 3: Saquon, Devon, and Devonta Smith.
Okay. We did get a couple super chats. One from Jonas Palumbo. Thank you for your donation, man, from Canada. He says, "Hey guys, should I trade away Dak, Higgins, Ayuk for Chase? I have Stroud, Swift, Brees, Monty, Javonte, Kupp, Dell, Downs, Rice. Currently 3-7." So if he trades away Dak, he has Stroud. That's fine. If he trades away Higgins, he still has Kupp, Dell, Downs. You can't play Higgins right now anyway, and he's 3-7. He needs to win. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with getting Jamar Chase. I think Chase is the most valuable piece in the trade. If Higgins were healthy, I'd say hold on to Higgins and let's ride with Higgins and Ayuk. But we don't know when Higgins will be ready, and honestly, you need to win right now. You cannot wait for Higgins to come back. So you're in a difficult position, but yeah, I would go get Chase and start him.
I agree. Sorry. I'm just watching this chokehold. My guy, it wasn't even as if he was being discreet. He led with his arm, and my man went like this.
Yeah, 100%.
It wasn't even like, oh, bro, get off him. and then he ended up putting his arm around his neck. My man went for it. Full on, like, coming out of the camera.
Honestly, it was like something snapped. You know what I mean? Something snapped, and it was like, oh shit, what's happening?
And then Rudy was like, are you seriously choking me? Like, he was
like,
scared.
What is happening right now?
His eyes got really wide. He was like, what the fuck is happening right now?
I thought we were playing basketball. LT Gray, thank you for the donation, man. He says, boys, in hotel in my flex, which two would you start? Addison, Dell, or Aaron Jones? I'm projected behind, so I'm leaning the 2 wide receivers. Addison, Dell, or Aaron Jones? To me, it would actually be Dell and Aaron Jones. But what I will say, LT Gray, is if Justin Jefferson doesn't play, I could switch that to Addison and Dell. But I just don't like the matchup for Addison versus the Broncos.
I would say,
you know what? As I'm talking this through, regardless, it's going to be Dell and Aaron Jones for me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say for me, because if Justin Jefferson doesn't play, maybe opens up a little bit for Addison because Patrick Surtain's not on him. But Justin Jefferson doesn't play, Addison is going against Patrick Surtain, who just locked down Stephon Diggs, who, I mean, I would personally say a better wide receiver and overall talent than Addison. Yeah, obviously, he's more solidified and a lot longer in his career, and Addison can hopefully get there. I'm not saying Addison is not good, but anyways.
No one thinks you're saying Addison isn't good.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to say. Patrick Surtain versus Addison, I think it's going to be a little bit tougher than Tank Dell.
Appreciate you updating, hopefully that is helpful. Joe's the next question here from top to bottom. Keep in mind, you can super chat if you want to skip the line. There is no obligation to do so. Joe says, would you trade Ford and Douglas for Saquon? Half PPR and Douglas is never in my lineup, but Saquon has a week 13 bye, and I'm 5-5. I'm fighting for the playoffs. So, we just talked about this earlier. Someone said, who are some of your league winners? Jerome Ford was one of my league winners this year. That's because he has the following schedule upcoming. Are you guys ready for this? He's got Pittsburgh this week. Fantastic matchup. Broncos the week next. You can run on the Broncos. Then in the playoffs, he has Chicago in week 15. Beautiful.
You give up a lot of points.
Houston in week 16. Beautiful. The Jets in week 17, which sounds bad, but you can actually run on the Jets. And the Jets aren't going to put up many points, so you're going to be able to run most of the game.
Unless Aaron Rodgers is back.
Unless Rodgers is back. So do you just trade for Saquon and put him in there because you know how talented he is? Or do you rely on a guy like Jerome Ford who has a better upcoming matchup, a more functional offense potentially? Pop Douglas doesn't move the needle for me. It's just, do you want to rely on Saquon right now while you're 5-5, who has a bye week coming up? I don't know that you do.
Yeah, I get it. I think if you need to win, I would say maybe there's better player that you can go on and get. Like, I'm 5-5 is fine for playoffs. If you're 5-5 fine for the playoffs, there's a better player than Saquon. He has a tough schedule. He plays the Eagles twice, who he hasn't played so far this year.
Swift would be a better name.
Yeah, there are better names that you can go out and get outside of Saquon. He's a big name, and I love him. I'm a Giants fan, but if you're trying to make the playoffs and you're looking for high upside week in and week out, there are better running backs out there that you can go out and target.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps there, Joe.
We did get a couple super chats, so let's get to those. Robert, thank you for your donation, man. Robert says, Hollywood, Michael Wilson, or Khalil Shakir, which one? I would lean Hollywood here. I know Michael Wilson was, targeted more last week, but technically both of these guys barely missed out on touchdowns. I just think Hollywood is still going to be the number one when Kyler Murray is comfortable. So I'll go Hollywood. You would agree? The next question is from Caleb. Thank you for your donation, Caleb. 2 quarterback, full PPR, Herbert, Dak, Howell, Fields, Murray. Damn, you got some options, man.
Are you saying pick 2?
Hold on. I
would go.
You're telling me you have 5 quarterbacks in a 2 quarterback league? Herbert.
My guy just drafted 5 quarterbacks back to back to back.
I bet you he picked up Murray off someone cheap. The first thing I could tell you is if you're in how big is this league? I wonder if it's like an 8-man. Look, if this is like a 10 or a 12-man league, you have a ton of trade value on your team. You got to be trading these guys away to upgrade at tight end, at running back, at wide receiver. It's a 6-man league. Okay, never mind. That makes sense. But let's answer the question. So Herbert, Dak, Howell, Fields, and Murray. Definitely Herbert for me.
This would be Herbert and Murray from, or it could.
I think
it's
it's
actually
Herbert
between
and
two.
Dak right now.
It's between Herbert, Howell, and Dak. Excuse me.
I'm gonna go Herbert and Dak.
I'm going Herbert and Dak as well against the Panthers.
But even in a 6-man, you probably have some trade value. You know what I would say, Caleb, is in a 6-man, I would be trying to trade Dak high right now if I could. Not to say that he won't be good, but you have any one of these names you could put in and they'd be fine starters for you. So I wonder if you could trade Dak and like get an elite tight end or an elite wide receiver. But we did just get another super chat from MP.
Pimpin'.
Thank you for the super chat, man. I appreciate you.
How you doing, brother? What's for lunch?
MP says, PPR, I would trade away Bijan and JT to get CMC, Cup, and Gibbs. 2-player keeper league. New keepers would be Eckler, CMC, and no picks next year. So you would trade away Bijan, JT. You would get Christian McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp, and Jahmyr Gibbs. I am completely fine with this. I think if you're competing this year, I know it's a keeper league, but if you're competing this year, still CMC is the number one guy that you would rather have on your team. And as far as Kupp goes, difficult to project his future, but for Jahmyr Gibbs, you should feel very good about him in a keeper league as well. So yeah,
agreed.
I would say that's like a championship winning type of move you can make.
Appreciate you, MP. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. OG, triple OG. You already know, baby.
Mm-hmm. Very kind. All right, we're going back up to the top. Super chat's available if you want to skip the line. No obligation, guys. The next question is from Elijah in order. And Elijah says, do I start Javonte Williams, Raheem Mostert, or Chris Godwin? This is Javonte Williams for me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Bike Walkers says, what's up? This might sound weird, but Mahomes or Dobbs this week? Yeah, I mean, it's a fair question. I'm going to go Mahomes. This should be a game where he can pass well against that secondary. So I'll go Mahomes, but it's not a dumb question at all.
Agreed.
Turdurkin says, hey fellas, pick 2, Hollywood, Deontay, Addison, Nico. I would go Hollywood.
I'll go Hollywood, Deontay. And I'm sitting Tajay.
Hollywood and Nico for me. Hollywood and Nico for me.
It's a tough matchup. I get it. It's nothing to be looking forward to, but I think if they can't run the ball, they're gonna have to throw the ball. And they were so successful in throwing the ball last week that they kind of abandoned the pass game. And I would also say Tajay's running game, excuse me, and I would say Tajay Spears, like I said. I'm assuming you would say the same.
Hollywood and Nico, and I would sit Tajay. So we're on the same page with sitting Tajay there. We did just get a super chat from Santo. Thank you for the donation. Ford and Debo for Kenneth and Addison. Ford and Debo for Kenneth and Addison. I'm fine with that. I like that deal. Give me the Ford and Debo side.
I am okay with that as well.
Of course, if Justin Jefferson was out for the year and if Ken Walker's schedule was better, it would be a much easier vote for that side. But with Ford's schedule, with Addison now competing with Jefferson, we're going to go Ford and Debo there. I like it.
Agreed.
Carlos is the next question there.
8-2. Thanks for the advice every week. No worries, Carlos. We appreciate you for showing us love and support. For week 11, I don't want to play the Ravens defense since I have Chase, wide receiver 1. The 49ers defense are backup. Should I play them instead or keep the Ravens? I will be starting the 49ers against the Bucks. Yes.
Yes,
I would start the 49ers over the Ravens defense. Joe.
To look at that, but I'm with you.
No worries. He says start 3, Rice, Godwin. Okay. I am starting. Let's start off with Devon. You start with Devon. You start Rice in this matchup as well. And then for me, it's between D-Hop and Godwin.
Yeah, it would be A-Chan, Rice, and D-Hop for me.
Yeah, and I'm leaning D-Hop as well. That's a divisional game, a little bit different. That's exciting.
Yeah.
D-Hop there. Thank you so much, Joe. Damn, Walker. Say, yo, I'm trying to get the playoffs running back depth. What cheap running back would you try to get with Flowers and Reed Michael Wilson? I mean, we say this all the time, brother.
It's genuinely impossible for us to tell you who's going to accept a trade for those two names in your league, because you know how we view players different to each other? Well, your league is doing that 12 times over. Everyone views players differently. They see different upside. They see different value. So for us to say with a player that's not been performing like Flowers and Charbonnet or Tai Chandler, I genuinely have no idea who to tell you to go trade for. What you can do is put those players on the trade block and see what offers come in. But at the moment, it's just we couldn't tell you with any sort of confidence any names exactly. Hopefully you understand. Samuel Piazza with the donation. He says, trade my Ford for DK, half PPR rest of season. Yeah, and he's got Pollard, Jacobs, Kyron. He's got Lamb, Puka, Noah Moore. I personally do not have an interest in acquiring DK Metcalf.
Agreed.
If you can make that Hollywood Brown, I'd say yes. If you can make that Terry McLaurin, I'd say yes. Or DJ Moore, or Garrett Wilson, or Debo, or Waddle.
If anything,
no.
This is a good time to sell DK. Big high upside. Not big high upside. I mean, just came off his second highest target share this year, 12 targets.
Yeah.
Against Washington. So I'm willing to send DK for somebody else personally, but maybe because we just don't like DK at the moment. But I would agree. Back to the top. I don't think we have another Super Sash. Saint, back to the top here. He said, will they play Hurts in the playoffs weeks if they clinch playoffs?
Yeah. The only time a team will ever sit starters is in the last week. Week 18. And you shouldn't have a playoff game for fantasy in week 18 anyway.
Yeah.
If you do, yell at your commissioner because that's dumb.
Start Howe or T. Law. I'll be going Howe here this week.
Same.
And start Ingram or Schultz. I would be starting Ingram.
Schultz for me.
I'll be starting Ingram. He also said flex 2, Rice, Judy, Nico, Hunt, Gus. I will be going Rice and Nico.
Same. We're on the same page there.
RHJ said trade Gibbs and Saquon for Mahomes and Devonta Smith. My other running backs are Bijan, JT, Javon, and Brees. My QB is Stroud. If this is super flex league, I'm okay with it. If this is a one quarterback league, I don't really see the point of doing this. I think Stroud is fine so far for the rest of the year. Why would you trade for Mahomes and give away Jahmyr Gibbs?
Yeah.
I know you have this running back.
Stroud's a fine starter rest of the year. You have a ton of running backs, but if you can make like Saquon Mahomes with the type of running backs you have, I feel good about it. But Mahomes is not the fantasy superstar we're accustomed to this year because he's never had this good of a defense. They just don't need him to be that guy this year.
I would just say this, like, if you want to do a trade like this, give Gibbs and Saquon, I'm looking for the wide receiver 1 or the QB 1 or the QB 2. And that right now is Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm not willing to do the trade just for a pivot. Yeah. Because Patrick Mahomes is a QB 8 and CJ Stroud is a QB 9. You're just pivoting.
I have thought a little bit about Jalen Hurts, what his fantasy value will mean if they take away the tush push. Have you thought about that at all? Because there are probably like at least 8 to 10 touchdowns this year that have come from the tush push for him. Or at least at the end of the year, there will be. I thought about it a little bit. Like, that's a free touchdown for him almost any time they're at the goal line. 8 to 10 might be drastic, but like there's a good amount of fantasy points he gets from that tush push, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Yeah. Attack of the Titans, 10-team, 2 quarterback, 1 point premium. Traded Pitts, Gibbs, a mid-2024 second and 4th for Justin Jefferson. It's a 1 point Titan premium, which means there's 2 points per reception.
It's Gibbs in a second and early fourth for Justin Jefferson. I would rather have Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I'm fine with that deal.
Yeah. Completely agree.
Just to put Laporte on my lineup, appreciate the insight. No worries. Card Chisel, would you drop someone to pick up Ridley from waivers? My options would be Rice, JSN, Jake Ferguson, and Keaton Mitchell. Yeah, I would probably be comfortable. JSN maybe, but honestly, no. I think I'd rather keep the guys you have.
Yeah. Excuse me, I would as well.
I think JSN gets more and more and more opportunities as the year goes on.
Yeah. I think the next one is Lombardo. I don't know how to say that. He says, I have Kincaid. Do I flex McBride over Lockett or Metcalf?
I would flex him over both, personally.
Agreed. Is it Laporta or Jake Ferguson? First question, we would go Laporta.
Yes.
Hopefully that helps.
My dog is losing his mind. Give me 1 second.
No worries. BBA, he says start Joe Burrow or Josh Dobbs. I will start Joe Burrow. I think Zach will say the same. Andreas, he says Laporta or Waddle in the flex. That's a good question. I will be going Sam Laporta. He said already have Kincaid. I'm going Sam Laporta and Kincaid there over Jalen Waddle. Hopefully that helps. Laurent says, I have Kyron Williams and Monty as running backs. Is that good for the rest of the season, or should I trade? Kyron Williams and Monty, I mean, we would trade just depending on your depth on your team and what you need and who you can give up to trade for. But we would like some depth on our team when it comes down to that.
Every time my mom leaves the house, my dog does the most pitiful cry you will ever hear in your life, like a deep like howl cry, like a oh, here he is. Hey Bubba.
Is he really attached to your mom?
Oh, loves her.
Yeah, that's a typical sausage dog though.
Yeah,
they get super attached to like and my brother-in-law has that.
You all right? They're gonna come back.
All the dog does is cry.
They'll come back, don't worry. They're not gonna leave you forever.
She's never coming back, Bean. You hear me? She's never coming back.
All right. Say hello to everybody. Mwah. You're okay. You're all right. So I always have to go down and comfort him and be like, it's okay. It's okay. We'll be live, by the way, for the next 10 minutes, right? Next 10 minutes. We haven't eaten lunch. Got a bunch of content to record for y'all. So just keep that in mind. We'll be live for the next 10 minutes. At the 45-minute mark, we'll call it a stream. But what's the next question you're at here?
I'm at Rico. He wants to help us set his lineup. Okay. I was just going to start off with that. But looking at that, Rico, looks like you have a really good lineup here. You know, you start Lamar. I will go Mixon and Barkley or A-Chain, depending on how you want to go there. Wide receivers, you start Devonta Adams, Nico Collins, and Tyler Lockett for me, and then you start Laporta.
Yeah, I'll rock with you there.
Shark Doodle Sports. Should I trade Ramondre Stevenson and Ingram for Trey McBride, Hollywood Brown, and Zach Charbonnet? I would say if your running back is good, sure. I would rather have Trey McBride over Ingram. I think at this moment, the way it's playing out in Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, agreed.
Kiwi. He said, am I being Fleek's 2 quarterback half PPR trying to trade Brian Robinson or either Brian Robinson or Bijan Robinson?
Probably Brian.
Amari Cooper and Trevor Lawrence for Tyreek. You know, if that is Brian Robinson and or Bijan Robinson, I would rather have Tyreek.
Yeah, if that's Brian, I think Tyreek is a clear winner here.
I think if it's
Trevor
Bijan
Lawrence,
as well.
I think we believe Trevor Lawrence will be better, but right now you have Fields and Dobbs that you can rely on a weekly basis. Let's hope that Justin Fields doesn't get injured because that will put you in a very difficult position. But getting Tyreek, if your quarterbacks stay healthy, that could easily be the reason you win your fantasy championship.
Completely agree. Irvin, you said McBride or Laporta. I will go Laporta.
Yes, same.
Laurent, he said, what should I do with Puka and Flowers? start him if you can. I was starting Puka over Flowers.
Yeah,
I think Zach will say the same.
Puka, I have no concerns about. I view him as a top 12 guy rest of the year with Stafford healthy. As far as Flowers, I just don't think there is much trade value, dude. I don't think there is much trade value. And it was funny last week because I was like, all right, this is a competitive game. Where the hell is Zay Flowers? 6 targets.
He showed up.
In a competitive game, 6 targets, dude?
But they were leading the whole time. They were leading the whole time until middle of the third.
The excuses just pile up every week.
It's not even excuses. They were leading. It's not an excuse. It's actual facts. They were leading up to the second half and into the middle of the third quarter. And then when they started to lose and come back, they started to use Zay Flowers. They need to, and that's why I'm saying it proves my point that Zay Flowers is going to be needed in tougher matchups, in my opinion. And we saw a better game. It wasn't the home run game of the crazy targets we hope and expect. I agree, but it was a better game because he was utilized because they needed him. I guess
they
that was my point.
They didn't really use him when they needed him, though.
No,
that's the thing.
I mean, I felt like they did, but maybe I need to rewatch it.
But when they needed him, they didn't. But I don't know, dude.
Yeah, maybe.
Seth,
you know what I would love to see, by the way? So random. I would love to see targets
in the Chargers uniform.
No, I would love to see targets per quarter or targets per targets per quarter, because I would love to see in a week-to-week basis of like, we the reason why we know Michael Pittman gets all his targets in the fourth quarter because we luckily watched that game. But if you were watching that game and you saw that stat, it's like, well, he did a little bit better, but where did he get those targets, right? Like,
I think that's a fantastic point, and I wonder if that's something that we could potentially create as a tool over on the Flock Fantasy site.
Targets per quarter,
carries per quarter. That would give you a lot of insight on carries and targets per quarter. That would give you a lot of insight on how games play out. But I typically rely on PFF's weekly report for those kind of things too. I always read through it, even if I don't do the waiver wire. I just want to know anything that I missed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
But it would be good to have it as a tool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Brandon Simpson,
Seth. He said trade Lamar for Kyler and Rachaad White. I have Russ at quarterback. If this is a super flex league,
either way, I'm fine with this deal.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I mean, getting Rachaad White, I think, is a huge plus.
Yeah, I would say Kyler and Lamar. I kind of viewed not that differently rest of the year, personally. You prefer Lamar, but it's not by much.
I don't think it's by much, and I think it helps you because of Rachaad White and how effective he's been the past 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Brandon, A-Chain, Barkley, Addison, Connor, pick 2. I'm going Barkley and Devon.
Yeah, this would be A-Chan and Connor for me. I love Connor's matchup versus the Texans. Yeah, I mean, I want to play Saquon. I can't.
Nino Pena. He says start Singletary even if Pierce comes back. Yes, I think you do.
Think it depends on your options. If Dameon Pierce doesn't play, Singletary is a great start for most people. But if Dameon Pierce plays, then it is something I would consider depending on my options. Caleb says got offered Ford and DK, but I would be giving up Rashad, Nico, and McBride. Which side would you take? I think the bigger question, Caleb, is who's your tight end if you lose McBride? Because that is honestly the most important question here. If you're telling me your tight end is now Hunter Henry, then absolutely not. But honestly, to be honest with you, I know I've talked about Ford's schedule, but Rachaad White, with what he gets through the air, I just feel like you're getting the worst side of this straight up. I don't want DK. I feel like, would you rather have Nico or DK rest of the year, Badaki?
I would rather have Nico.
Right, but either way, it's like close, and it's not a huge upgrade, is what we're saying. And
yeah,
this trade doesn't properly value McBride, even if you have a good tight end waiting. Sad J Cutler says, "Good evening, fellas. Standard league, who drop one stash?" Okay, so I guess we drop one, stash one. So
I'm dropping.
I feel like if we're dropping one, we're stashing the rest.
Yeah, I'm dropping Spears. I'm stashing the rest. If that makes it easy.
I would drop. Yeah, I guess I'm with you there.
That's what I would do there. Brandon said, Caleb, keep what you got, bro.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Brian's the next one.
Yeah, Brian. Brian, need tight end help for playoff push. Thoughts on these offers, Dottle and Pop for Pitts, or Pop and Alton for Njoku?
I think I would just rather have Pitts here than those two names, because those two names are probably not guys you're starting with any confidence anyway. What I would say is Pitts and Njoku don't really give you any confidence in general. So I wouldn't view them as like they're a Band-Aid rather than a real fix.
Agreed. Tony, remember guys, we're going to be live here for the next 2 minutes here. Tony, drop Dotson for 1, Brandon Cooks, Noah Brown, Boyd, or JSN. I think if you need to win this week, I'm happy to do someone like a Tyler Boyd. High upside. That's how I see it, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
But
long term, I want JSN though.
Yeah, Ethan, Mostert, or Achan are better when playing together. I think, I agree. Jewel Williams, running back help, full PPR, start 2, Mostert. Or Devon versus the Raiders. I'm going Devon.
Yeah.
And then Halls, Gibbs, or Etienne.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you can only start 2. Well, then I'm starting Gibbs and I'm starting Etienne.
Yes, that's what I would do. Sorry,
but
I'm starting Gibbs and Etienne.
I struggle to think of a scenario where I sit Breece Hall or Achane, but I guess here we are.
I completely agree. Volpe, it says, should I trade Devonta Adams for Devon? My other wide receivers are Hill, Kirk, Addison, and other running backs are Kyron, Hall, Tai Chandler, and Sanders. Yeah, I would be okay with that personally. You got Tyreek Hill, Christian Kirk, who I feel confident in.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as well. I agree.
Brian Starr, Fields, or Kyler Murray. I think we both said Kyler Murray.
Yep.
Keaton Mitchell, or Saquon in the standard league. I'm going Saquon.
Yeah, I'll go Saquon too. I can see the reason for the question. So, yeah.
Yeah, and last 2 here, Patrick. Someone dropped Fields in a 10-man for passing touchdown. Would he be adding over my current QBs in Burrow and Kyler? No. I think we both say no there. Kaz says start 1 wide receiver and 2 flex. This is the last question here, guys. 1 wide receiver and 2 flex. So I think at the flex position, you're starting Devon. Start at the wide receiver position, sorry. Wide receivers between Michael Wilson, Quinton, and Jalen Reed. I'm be going Mike. I think if Keenan Allen doesn't play, I'm going Quinton. That's what I would say. Yeah. Which I think he will play, but if not, I'm going Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson for me, yeah.
And at the flex position, I will be going Devon, and I will go. This is where it's tough. Do I just start? I'll go Quinton here over Najee.
I would say if Keenan plays, I lean Jaden Reed actually, because he's been pretty good and they play the Chargers. It's a better matchup. And I also think the Chargers are going to put up points, meaning Reed will be necessary. So I agree with you outside of that little caveat. Kags, by the way, the guy that we just answered his question as we're ending the stream, says, I put my question in every live and never get answered. It's ridiculous. I would just ask you guys to take a second here and just scroll through the chat. All right? Just take a second. Scroll through the chat. And just understand how many people are here asking help and how much time we have to help you guys. We do our best. We do our best. Of course, we're going to prioritize people who donate. But look at all the questions before your questions, before you guys comment stuff like that. I mean, that's why we advise you.
That's why we advise you to put your notifications on, subscribe, put your notifications on, and then get here early. I know maybe life happens. You know, we normally go live consistently. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? I think now it's 7 with time change. I'm not sure. But normally 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day, essentially. Set your notifications and then pop your questions in the live stream. And then if you can't watch it, come back later.
Yeah.
You know, that's what a lot of people do here.
We are 2 people trying to answer probably thousands of questions in an hour. Definitely hundreds. Just keep that in mind, guys. We're doing our absolute best. We do appreciate everyone who donated. And we got one last donation today from Keith. So this will be the last one because he donated. We appreciate you, Keith. He says, Hal, Fields, Aaron Jones, Devontae, Sun God, Cup, Deontay, Mark, Tai Chandler, Herbert. Who to start? I mean, Keith.
Who to start?
You got to give us more information, Keith. We
have
don't know
some
how
more
big your starting
information
lineup is, do we? You know, we don't know if you are in a super flex league. We didn't know if you are in a start 2 wide receivers or 3 wide receivers, if you have 1 flex, if you have multiple flexes. So we will take a second and try and wait for a response here. So let's get a little more context here, Keith, if you don't mind.
I think I'll start it off here because I'm just gonna think it's let's say it's one quarterback. One quarterback, I'm going Hal. Here, right? 2 running back positions: Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams. He also has Ty Chandler, Khalil Herbert. He says 1 flex. That's all I have. 1 quarterback. So 1 quarterback and 1
2
flex.
wide receivers then in your starting lineup.
2 wide receivers and 2 running backs. So Hal, Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams. I'm starting Amon-Ra and Cooper Kupp. And then at the
flex,
who is it? Deontay, Ty, Khalil, Amari.
I would say if Madison doesn't play, I would flex.
It could be. That's where I was going. But if not, I'm happy to start Deontay Johnson over him, and you start Mark Andrews at the tight end position.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we appreciate you though, Keith.
That is it for today, guys. Hey, genuinely, thank you so much to everyone who has donated. We appreciate y'all. To everyone whose questions that we've answered, hopefully we've helped. Feel free to subscribe. We will be live tomorrow before the game. An hour before the game. So come join us then. Lots of great content on the channel. And make sure you check out our Dynasty channel if you are into Dynasty football, or even if you're interested in getting into the Dynasty space. I will go ahead and put the link in our chat right now. But tomorrow we will be releasing our first 2024 Dynasty rankings video. We're looking at the running back position in particular. It will be over an hour worth of video. There's so much to talk about. So I think those who are like really deep into the prospects will love that video. Others might be like, hurry it up. Come on. But go subscribe. We'll be pumping out content over there. And during the offseason, the Dynasty channel thrives. I mean, live streams daily, content all the time, 7 videos a week. So go subscribe over there. Outside of that, that is it. That is it for today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you guys very soon. All love.